What are regulated representation? A regulated representation is a representation governed by a set of production and usage rules. For instance, a list of names, an accounting table, a family tree, a flowchart diagram, a map of a region, a printed book, a video, an encyclopedia, an Excel sheet, or a PowerPoint presentation are regulated representation. Let's take one example in particular, the map. There are conventional presentation rules to follow when creating a map, like indicating the scale or the direction of the north, and conventional methods to follow in order to create the map contents. And in terms of usage, one must learn how to read a map. This map reading skill also involves many related skills for handling the map, orienting oneself in front of it, etc. And these skills are either taught or learned by imitation. Let's now consider the following hypothesis. Regulated representation get more regular over time. This general process is actually the transformation of a convention into a mechanism. The regulation usually proceeds in two consecutive steps. First, the mechanizing the representation production rules, and then mechanizing its conventional usage. And ultimately, through this process, regulated representation tend to become like machines. If you consider this map from the 14th century, you see that there's no scale, no orientation, and that the content itself seems to be measured in a rather erratic way. Now, if you consider this map 200 years later, you see that it's much more regular. And if you consider this very recent map showing global land and undersea elevation, the production process has been entirely automatized, entirely mechanized. That means that there's no human measure anymore to actually produce the map. And if you consider now this Google Maps service, you enter in the last step of this mechanization process. That means that not only the content is produced in an automatic manner, but also the usage is governed by a set of strict rules which are not convention anymore, but actual mechanisms. Let's now consider 4 observations. First, by becoming a machine, maps have internalized their own usage rules. As machines, they offer much more possibilities than traditional maps. However, these various new modes of usage are explicitly programmed. This is a general principle, the transition from a tool to a machine. A paper map can be used freely, including for other purposes than its original function. You can wrap an object using a map. You can take a note on a paper map. It's a tool. A digital map can only be accessed through specific input and output commands. The specific usage rules have been internalized. It is a machine. Second observation. As maps become machines, they are progressively merged into a global mechanic system in which a multitude of maps became aggregated into a single one. This is the example of Google Earth, for instance. Again, this is a general principle. As regulated representation get more regular, they tend to aggregate into a unified system. This is actually a particular case. This integration rule is in some cases a paraphrase of the general concretization process which has been articulated by Gilbert Simondon. An example of the concretization process is this evolution of the automobile car shape. If you go progressively in time, you see that the different technical elements that constitute the car progressively merge into one another to form unique technical objects. This progressive merging is what Simondon called the concretization process. Now, if we consider the third observation, you'll see that the relation of maps to time changed during the mechanization process. Maps used to be the archetype of a stable and complete as possible document. It took years to build accurate maps. But when the map gets fully mechanized, the image of a map becomes just a transitory state that can be automatically updated at any moment to reflect more accurately the state of the Earth. An interesting example is just a couple of minutes after Osama bin Laden hideout was found, it was actually updated on Google Maps. The user observed a snapshot of a continuously moving flux. Let's take now our final observation. With the full mechanization of maps and their general accessibility through any web browser, expensive geographical databases become totally free to use by the general public in just a couple of years. Maps were expensive, and people understood why they were expensive, and now they become accessible for free. What is of value in the new associated economy is not the map contents, but the traces of usage left by the map readers. And this is again a general principle. Mechanization changes where the value lies. So in conclusion and as an exercise, can you think of other regulated representation that went through the same mechanization process?